Welcome everybody to our Cleft Friends Facebook page. I'm just going on to see everything now here, and we are live. Awesome. I hope you're all having a great afternoon. So if you're watching, if you can click and share, I'm just going to go and share and get the first share done. There we go. So that's done. Let's see. Hopefully more people can see that we're live now and we're getting started. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name's Helena Callis. I'm the National Coordinator for Cleft Friends, a project of Smile Foundation. And welcome to the Titanic series. We are doing session 3 today. And this series is being presented over 5 short sessions on the Cleft Friends pages every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So today we're only broadcasting from the Facebook page due to technical difficulties, but hopefully next week we will be back on the Instagram page. And today we're going to continue chatting about the grieving curve and specifically about exploring. This session will be 15 minutes, so don't go anywhere. And this session is for anybody. It's not just for those who are affected by cleft lip and palate, it's for everybody. And we trust that this initiative through Cleft Friends will create equal access for mental health services during lockdown. So joining us today is Lynette Dean, a counseling psychologist from Cleft Friends and from Smile Foundation, and Lynette lives in Port Elizabeth. So Lynette, once again, it's lovely to have you with us.
Thanks, Helena. It's lovely to be here again.
Great. So to recap quickly, in session 1, we spoke about shock, denial, anger, and disappointment within the grieving curve. And in session 2, we spoke about bargaining, questioning, and sadness and depression. And for anybody who's watching, if you've perhaps missed this these sessions, I'm going to post the link for the Smile Foundation YouTube page channel onto this feed, and I want to encourage you to go and go and subscribe to the Smile Foundation channel, and let's see if we can up the amount of subscriptions this week. So let us know where you're watching from. Drop us a comment. If you've got any questions, I'll also put my WhatsApp number in the feed. So you're welcome to WhatsApp a question if you want us to ask it anonymously. But we're here for you, and I'm excited about today's session, Lynette.
Great.
Over to you. Go for it.
Okay, do you think we could get our slide up again, Helena, just as a recap? There we go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. As we can see, that is our grieving curve that we're speaking about. And as Helena said, we're talking about it in terms of the Titanic series. The Titanic being a ship that hit a iceberg. And the first feeling that we feel when we're going through any kind of trauma is as if we've also hit that iceberg. And there would be the initial shock and denial, like we mentioned, and the anger and the disappointment and the bargaining. But remember, these stages don't happen in a linear fashion and then disappear. We can go back to them at any stage during that grieving during that grieving process. So don't think that there's something wrong with you if you think that you've already passed anger and you're now feeling depressed and you go back to anger. It's quite normal to do that. But what happens is eventually we realize that no amount of shock or denial or anger or bargaining or questioning is going to stop the fact we end up at the bottom, which is that sadness and the depression stage. And we're going to be picking up from there today. And if you can imagine at that stage that your ship has been wrecked, it's absolutely broken. We always then start exploring to see how we can rebuild that ship and set sail again eventually. So what I always do in my private practice, I would always ask my clients, what would we need in order to fix something? And this is when we start to explore. We're exploring the effects that the depression or the sadness or the grief has on us, but we're going to try and come up with ways to overcome that. So if something is broken, well, quite obviously we need more materials for that. We'll need more glue, we'll need more wood, we'll need hammers and nails, that kind of thing. But first of all, we need a plan. And it's actually nice sometimes to break up the exploration into that plan and say, okay, where are we going to from here? What are we going to do? So this is what we're going to be speaking about today. When I speak about a plan, it would be, where are we going to get the materials from? What do we have in terms of our own personalities? What has worked before? We're going to try and incorporate that as well. Justin, you can take that off if you want to, and then there we go. All right, so part of that plan would actually be now, like saying, all right, what has helped me in the past to get over similar things? Perhaps we haven't been over, or we haven't been through, such a grieving phase before where we've, like dealing with the trauma of a cleft lip and palate, but even just the COVID-19 trauma that we're going through. Every day it would be a day-to-day plan. How are we going to get through the day? What worked yesterday? What didn't work today? Then, for example, if we look at the materials, that would be the plan first of all. But what is the glue? What sticks our plan together? What do we need, to like try and fix this? It could mean your relationships with other people. It could mean your faith also. So that would be the plan. That would be the materials that you need. But you also need to be physically and mentally healthy, because you cannot rebuild anything if you're not feeling up to it that day. So I want to encourage people that aren't actually feeling physically healthy to examine why. Are they eating properly? Are they sleeping properly? And then also in terms of their mental health. We spoke a bit about depression last week, but are people exhibiting signs of depression? Because if you really are depressed, there's no way you're going to be up to building. So maybe then seek help. And very often when we rebuild ships, we can't do it on our own. So we need a support structure. And the support structure, very often in terms of support structure, we cannot help ourselves. So, just in terms of cleft lip and palate, there are obviously support structures out there, like Elena and Cleft Friends and Smile Foundation. They're there to offer support for building that ship again. But also you can also turn to your faith, or you can turn to friends that normally help you. Without touching too much on next week's one, this may also take time though. And I think that is one of the most important things when we're dealing with grief or trauma, is not to expect that it's going to happen overnight. It all depends on the extent of that grief and the extent of that trauma. That is going to determine how long it really takes, and to be patient that you may have good days and bad days just going forward.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about that topic, because I love the idea of how do we move out, and how does the exploring, evolve into moving forward. And I see we've got Pietru Meyer watching from Cape Town, Anika Kukumur from Mossel Bay, and Patsy Fulton, that's my mom. Hi, Mom. So yeah, I'm glad to see we've got people watching and sharing. Post where you're watching from, and so we can say hi. And if you've got any questions for Lynette, please post them in the comment section, and we will definitely ask. We've got Matadisha watching from Midrand. Hi, Matadisha. Lovely to have you guys with us. So yeah, Lynette, the sort of exploration phase, is this also a phase that people jump backwards and forwards in the grieving curve? No, can you come back to this phase multiple times?
Well, I think also you actually can change your plan as you go along. So if that means coming back to that phase, you see what works for you and what doesn't work for you, just in terms of coping skills and that kind of thing. So, your plan may change along the way. But on this side of their grieving curve, you know, that like where we're going up at the moment, this becomes a more positive side. On the anger and the bargaining side, it was very negative, very negatively charged with like deep emotion. Whereas on this side, when we start exploring, I think we become a bit more hopeful. You know, we start to become a little bit more optimistic about actually coping with our trauma. But it's because we're looking at plans, we're looking at ways, we're looking at techniques like stress management, those kind of things to help us. So yeah, we will actually come back to it, but not specifically start exploring all over again, but you will evaluate as you go along, and you could just add to your plan and see what works and what doesn't.
Okay. And can somebody, you know, become stuck in one phase of the grieving curve?
Well, you see, one phase actually could become like stuck on it. You know, for example, we spoke about anger, but we can quickly go back to anger. When we start healing, remember I actually said to you, we could still go back to the anger, but we're not there for a longer period as we were in the beginning. But I wouldn't say we get stuck there. As we start to heal, we may still visit there again from time to time, but it isn't going to be like so negatively charged, and it won't have such an effect on us as we start healing.
Okay. And then is there anything you would like to add in ending? And I know that I'm excited about our topic for next week. I think that is what makes me passionate about what I do with Cleft Friends. And it's just the you know, you said the plan and time and support and our tools that help people to move forward. So maybe you can share just briefly, you know, why people should come back and listen to next week's session, why it's important.
Okay, well, I think as we've mentioned, you know, the like stages like don't specifically relate to cleft lip and cleft palate. So just in the trauma we're in, you know, maybe people could even share their experiences with us about what has been working for them and what hasn't. But specifically when it comes to cleft lip and palate, we know that if it wasn't for the like support of the specific groups and the specific WhatsApp groups that are out there, those other moms that are out there, those new moms, you know, with babies with cleft lip and palate would probably sink like the Titanic did. So that's why it's so important for them to incorporate like support and part of that plan moving forward, because it's a journey that we're on.
Yes.
And it's a dynamic process. It's not a static process.
Yes, we've got a question here from Achadesu. Can being too optimistic and positive be detrimental to fully embracing the grieving process?
I don't think you can ever be too optimistic, you know, because I think with optimism brings hope, and very often it's just hope that people have, you know. So if optimism like means having hope, then I say we can never have too much hope, you know, rather have that feel hopeless and helpless. So I don't think we can be too optimistic, you know. We can be realistic, you know, there's a difference there. We must be realistic that there's certain things that we will be able to do and certain goals we will be able to reach, where there's some that we won't be able to. But we must also keep on striving towards those goals.
I think that is something I love about the support of the moms across the country, is that when they tell their story, they tell it in such a way that brings hope to the mommy who's just given birth and their baby's affected by cleft lip or palate, you know, today. And it's beautiful to watch how that hope and that optimism can almost be birthed by just seeing that I'm not alone, and that there are other people who are going through the same situation as me, and I'm able to reach out to them. You know, they're not overseas, they're here, and so that's one of the things that we really like. So Lynette, I want to say thank you so much. Is there anything you want to add in ending?
No, nothing. I think we look forward to next week and see what next week has to hold. This time just goes very quickly.
Goes too fast. So I just want to remind everybody who's watching that we also raising funds and for bottles for babies affected by cleft lip and palate. I will post that link in the feed as well now. You can purchase that through the Smile Foundation website. And you can join us next week, same time, same place, but hopefully also on Instagram next week for session 4, our next session. And we're going to be talking about tools, a plan, support, and time. So if this session has made a difference in any way, please, to your life, please, drop us a comment, let us know. And in ending, I've got a really cool quote. I went to look for this quote today, Lynette, from Winston Churchill. He said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And I just want to encourage everybody who's watching just to have that courage today and to keep doing one day at a time. So thank you so much. And thank you, Lynette, for your time.
Thanks, Elena. And I'll speak to you next week.
Help us reach our target of purchasing 300 Cleft bottles for babies in need. For only 120 Rand, you can change a baby's life. For more information, you can go to smilefoundationsa.org.